Hello YouTube, welcome to the channel. Now then, on today's video we're going to be looking at this. It's another Airfix Starter Set, the 1/72 Tiger 1. I've had this in my stash for a good while now. I think I bought it last year around Christmas time. I can't remember, it's from Aldi or Lidl. They have like a little sale every year. In the box we get one set of decals for our model. We get one set of instructions, and these instructions are quite comprehensive actually. We get a set of paints. I think there's 3 paints in there plus a tube of poly cement. We've got one brush, number 2 Humbrol, which I must admit, these are nice brushes, these are. And we've actually got the model itself. Now, someone might correct me, but I believe this is a new moulding from Airfix. So I'm expect it to be nice and crisp and go together really, really well. The tank in question that we're going to be building today is a Tiger 1, apparently operated in Russia, July 1944. So anyway, it's a fair thing, isn't it, a Tiger tank? I personally think they're possibly a little bit overcomplicated, but great big thick arm and a great big gun. What more could you want? But anyway, that's what we're going to be building today. So first job with any of these starter sets, because we're using acrylic paints, is to go and wash these sprues in some warm soapy water, just to get any releasing agent off, because it does hamper your progress sometimes. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is go and wash this lot off. Okay, well I went ahead and washed all of the sprues and applied 2 coats of the tan colour to the body. I must admit this did not adhere to the plastic very well at all, and at one point I was sort of thinking about giving up actually, it was that bad. I did persevere with it however, and it did go on, and I have got, like I say, I've applied a couple of coats and I've got a nice flat tan colour now on all the parts. Same goes for the tracks. I started painting the tracks with the metallic silver or metallic gunmetal. Again, the adhesion to the plastic was pretty terrible, I must admit, but I did in fact persevere, and it's sort of, I'm going to put an extra couple of coats on it, starting to look nice and solid. Now then, we can actually start assembling this model, and the first bit is the sort of main hull. The good thing about Airfix instructions is it actually silhouettes the parts you need in black, and that just helps you when you're assembling the bits and pieces. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start assembling this. Okay, well I've actually gone ahead and completed the entire hull. I pretty much flew through that at the first page. It's basically like assembling a box essentially, and we're actually on the second page now. I've actually done these side panels here, but I mean, so far so good. The thing has literally flew together, no real issues, everything fits nice. I did use a little bit too much glue, but that's my fault. The next stage then is on to the various sort of ancillaries on the actual hull itself. So we'll go ahead and cut those out and glue those onto our hull. Right, we've got to stick the exhausts on, so I've trimmed them off the sprues. I'm not sure what that little bit there is, but we've got to put that on as well. And they basically fit in these series of holes and that slot on the back. So I'm going to go ahead, glue those on, see what they look like. Right, that's the exhausts fitted, and whatever that little bit is there. I'm just in the process of fitting the shrouds and the mud guards as per the instructions. The next job then will be to, I would just say you've got to paint, oh actually, the next job is the bow gun and what I think is some sort of driver's optic, I'm not sure, and then we move on to the turret itself. Right, we're cooking on gas with this thing. Put the little bow machine gun on and the driver's, what I believe is the driver's optic anyway, and I've also cracked on with the turret. The basics are all there. I mean, there's just 2 halves, a lid and what I imagine is a storage box at the back. The mechanism moves up and down, so we've got depression and elevation. The only thing left to do is basically put all the bits and pieces on the turret, that like the hatches and the gun, etc. That I'm going to leave till last, the tracks, because I still haven't quite finished painting. That's going to be the real tricky part of it, because what I want to do is actually paint the black rubber rings around the outside, which is it's going to be quite time consuming, I can imagine. But this thing is flying together, really. I mean, I'm really impressed with the fit and the finish on this thing. I'm going to, like I say, finish the turret off, and then I think what I'll do is give everything a little bit of a cheeky coat of the tan again, wait for that to dry, and then crack on with the tracks and possibly do some weathering and stick the decals on. Okay, all the little bits and pieces are on the turret, and we've assembled the barrel. What I think we're going to do is give the turret and the hull a cheeky coat of tan again, just to tidy things up. Then we're going to move on to the tracks, which is the bit I'm not looking forward to at all. And then a bit of weathering and put the decals on. So far, honestly, this thing is flying together. I mean, it is super easy. If you're a beginner, if you want a kit for beginners, I think this is, you're interested in armour, I think this is the one for you. Anyway, let's crack on. Okay, that's both tracks painted. It wasn't as laborious as I thought it was going to be. I've used my usual trick of dipping the end of a cocktail stick in the paint, and this makes the really fine detail work a lot easier, and I have to use my wife's glasses as well. I've also detailed a few portions of the tank. I've put some of that metallic paint on various bits and pieces. What I think I might do next is put the transfers on. There's only 6 of them, and then I think I'm going to have a go at applying a black wash to this, see if we can't bring out some of the details. But so far I'm quite impressed with this. Anyway, let's get these tracks on. Right, tracks are on, and this thing is starting to look like a proper little tank now. I did have to hold them while the glue set, because they tended to want to sprag out a little bit, so I did have to hold them. Next job is we're going to put the transfers on, and then hopefully weather it. Right, the way I like to put transfers on is by using a cocktail stick, just to tease them off the backing. Sometimes I like to put a little bit of water on, whatever it is, because it just slide on a little better. And then you can sort of tease them on and get them into the right position, or roughly the right position anyway. Right, there you are, she's fully stickered up. There's only 6 transfers to put on, so if you don't like putting transfers on a model, this is the model for you. Next job, I'm going to try not to ruin it by making up a black wash and see if we can't weather this thing a little bit. Right, this is actually the bit that scares me the most, because if you overdo the weathering, I think you can actually ruin the model. I have actually made this wash a little bit too thin, I think. I've used a little bit too much water, but rather than that overdo it and end up with, well, a mess in effect. But you just got to pick out the panel lines really, and the detail, and hopefully let the wash do the rest. It should sort of flow in to all the nooks and crannies and just give that impression of dirt and grime. That's what we're going for. Hopefully it'll work out. Okay, I've actually applied the wash and let it dry, and if I do say so myself, it's actually turned out quite nice. I must admit, it really does work on this sort of tan colour. Emboldened by this, all I think I'm going to do now is just dry brush a little bit of silver over the hatches and the corners and some of the seams, just to give it that sort of weathered paint look, you know, it's sort of scratched through to the surface of the metal. So again, you can really overdo this, so I'm just going to be trying to be as careful as I can, because so far this actually looks quite good. Okay, I've dry brushed a bit of silver onto the various edges of the tank and some of the areas that I think would get the most wear, like the various hatches, the commander's cupola, engine covers and things like that. And do you know what, I'm quite impressed with this. It's not turned out too bad at all. I mean, considering this was made just using the contents of the box, I think we've ended up with a really nice little Tiger tank there. So hats off to Airfix. This starter set, I think, is one of the nicest ones I've made so far. And just to give you an idea of the size of a Tiger as well, I've got me Sherman that we made as well, and they're both the same scale. And as you can see, the Tiger is massive compared to the Sherman, so it must have been an absolute beast on the battlefield. Anyway, what did we think of the Airfix starter set, the Tiger 1? I'm going to say yes, I've thoroughly enjoyed doing this. It does make a nice little model as well. It took me about 3 nights work over various days just to get it into this sort of shape. But yes, I would thoroughly recommend this. I mean, I think the thing was only £4.99 at Lidl or Aldi, £5.99, one of the two. So value for money wise, it's excellent, and it really does make a nice Tiger 1. So thumbs up to that one. Anyway, if you've enjoyed the video and you found it of some use and interest, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're feeling that way inclined, hit that subscribe button for more similar future content. Once again, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again very, very soon. Thank you.